Hello, everyone. You are listening to the C Squared podcast with Cori and Curtis, hosted by the fabulous Ghost Cult magazine. We are just us two today, no guests, so you got to deal with our BS for the next 40 minutes or so. So we're going to talk about, a few of the things that we've been working on, some successes that we've had, some things that we've seen on some campaigns we've been doing. So hopefully it's informative for you.
Yes, I'm gonna start it off. So basically, we're gonna kind of be talking about the successes we've had since we kind of started the C Squared thing. We've been working with Akiaville, we've been working with Ligature Marks, we've been working with Duncan Evans, we've been working with Hair Knox. We've also been working with the Inferno doll, and I think I got everyone. Oh, and we also have Gaia and Holly on board. But the first main thing that just wrapped up that we had a really good success with was Akiaville. Now, this was actually Cori's project that she's been working on since December of 2020, correct?
A little bit after, yeah. So like January-ish.
Okay, so January, she kind of went in there and basically became the manager / boss of Akiaville on her own.
I'm not the boss. They call me the boss, but I'm not the boss. The band is the boss.
She's the boss. But anyways, so she kind of went in there and she kind of started helping them. And then I started helping Cori. And then somehow it kind of became like almost a co-thing. She's still the boss. I'm not saying this is my band or anything like that. This is Cori's band. She's the ultimate boss. But I think it's fair to say it's kind of like a shared type thing with you being the ultimate ringleader, correct?
Well, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have seen the success that we saw over these past few months without the teamwork, obviously.
Yeah.
Cool. And without your help, definitely wouldn't have seen the same level of success. So I'm going to toot your horn because you kicked ass on this.
Well, we both did. So I think I'm considering Akiaville to kind of be like a C Squared thing, even though it's kind of your thing ultimately. So I'm going to kind of group that under our successes here. So it hasn't ended yet, but the album release happened yesterday. It's now Saturday, so that would have been the 22nd of April, whenever you're listening to this. Now, there was a lot of issues with the release date, as far as I was concerned, when Cori first told me about it. But they were basically they had an agreement where they had to release by that date, correct?
Yes, correct. That date was set in stone.
Yeah. So when I first started talking to Cori was probably in February, and then they got the masters back, I think in early March, and told me that the date was April 22nd. And at first, 23rd, sorry. And at first I flipped the fuck out because it was being released in between Gojira and Cannibal Corpse and on 420, which has all the hallmarks of just asking to fail.
Yeah, in between two band releases or big band releases, and on 420 week when everybody and their mother, who is a stoner, is releasing something of some sort. Yeah,
and I think at first, the very first thing I tried to get you to switch the date, but you were like,
we can't.
Yeah. And then I kind of forced myself into helping her with the PR. She wasn't even asking me to do it or anything like that. I just
at first I told you no.
Yeah, I know. And then I ended up like, oh, I'm helping. And then she was like, no. But I did it anyways.
That's kind of our style.
Yeah. Well, it actually is, right? Because someone tells us.
Yeah, because I mean, Akiaville at first, when I first started helping them, it was like, hey, do you guys want a website? Just, things that I knew I can do that they didn't know how to do. And it was no. We'll handle things on our own. We basically they didn't want somebody they didn't know and didn't trust with their hands in their stuff. But I just did it anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the way that we both kind of operate. It's kind of like if someone isn't asking for it necessarily, but we think it's right, we take responsibility for the client, I think is what it is. First, letting them kind of tell us what to do. We kind of go like, well, we got it, but we're doing it anyways this way, and like it or lump it, that's the way to go. And so far it's worked out pretty well. Exactly. So with the Akiaville, so we had all the hallmarks just ready to fail. Cori was new at management. She'd never done it before. She just decided she was going to take it on. Last time when Akiaville released their last album, was last year, and they had virtually nothing happening at that time, correct?
Correct. They didn't have any kind of PR support, no real release plan outside of social media posts. No, obviously no label support. So even though that was released on a small label, they didn't have any kind of real support at all. So
Yeah,
this
and
was their first fully supported release.
well, independently still too, but
And it was independently released, no label support still. It was just a Cori Curtis support.
that's correct. And I want to point out one thing too. You were basically the only person that had covered them
Yes.
last year. Well,
Correct. I found them randomly on YouTube. They were a suggested video. I was watching Wintersea's Befallen, and they came up as a, because you watched this, you might like. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. I'll click on this. And it was instantly kind of a whoa. And so I included them in an underground roundup of, them and a few other melodic death metal bands. And then their subsequent releases after that one, I premiered on Metal Injection, just because I really dug their sound.
but you were the only person basically that really did anything with them last year, other than a couple small Portuguese, I think Brazilian, and I think Russian blogs or European blogs. I can't even remember, but it was like almost nothing. There was 5 pieces of press the entire cycle on their debut. So you want to kind of say what the final stats, well, not final, the stats that we have so far for press placements are, Cori, from 5 to
150.
150 placements.
And
so
still counting. We still have some outstanding interviews that have not yet been published. We have some, video interviews that haven't been published yet. And we still have upcoming videos and other projects that we're working on. So this press cycle hasn't wrapped up yet. But yeah, we're at 150 right now.
So 150, and that was in 1 month. Now I want to point out that was not just me. Cori also worked this. Keith Morash also worked this. Keith basically, the role he played was he got the premieres set up for the European premieres. But basically, other than that, it was me and Cori, which is basically double whammy on it, which kind of shows what can happen when you go from one person to 2 persons and what can happen as a team. But one thing I want to point out is a lot of people will tell you that a band with literally no press can't do this. But we got them on pretty much every single fucking major metal place with the exception of Metal Hammer so far.
Correct.
So can you kind of give your own viewpoint of why you think this happened?
I think one of the biggest reasons is going to be the volume. Every single time that they did something, whether it was releasing the album title, releasing the artwork, releasing the track list, any kind of, them finishing recording, all of those steps that you see press releases for big bands, we did it for the little band. And we just, every time it was Akiavel was in all of these places inbox. So that was probably the biggest reason, was the sheer amount of times people saw their name.
How many times did No Clean Singing say that they saw a press release of it?
15.
And
counting. They said that they had 15 and counting press releases before they finally published something about the band.
I just want to go over that super quickly, because that's one key thing that a lot of people will tell me not to do, is to resend press releases and to continually bug people because they go, it's spammy. The problem is like I've sent out literally 7 press releases before a journalist even reads the fucking thing and even knows that it even exists. Good example is in the beginning with the Akiavel thing, we had already sent out, I think, 7 press releases, and then I got an email back from, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to embarrass them just in case, but I got an email back from a site saying, hey, we would really like to review this. Have you sent out press copies? And I was like, the fuck, we sent the Holics out twice. This is like 7 press releases, and they just had seen it that day. So that was like 7 times it had already been blasted. They didn't notice, didn't have a fucking clue about it. No Clean Singing as well, 15 times before they even bothered to even check out the thing. Now this could backfire if you're a bad band. Go ahead, Cori.
No, I was just going to say, just based on the sheer volume of press releases, that I get as a writer as well, you have to. You
Yep.
have to keep resending things because we will miss stuff. We
Yep.
get, 200-300 press releases in a day, not in a week,
Yep.
in a day, we will get hundreds of them.
Yep.
And we can't read them all. So
Yep.
the more you send it out, the more likely you are to be seen. And for those that think it's spammy, it's only spammy if A, you don't have the person's permission to email them, which Curtis always does, or
99%.
B, you email them after they've asked you to stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only way that it's spammy. Other than that, when it comes to the big bands, I mean, everybody always jokes that people cover Corey Taylor every time he breathes, but
Yep.
that's because his label will send a press release every time he breathes.
Yep.
They do
100%.
it for the big boys. So for the little guys, they need to do it too.
Yeah. And here's the other thing I want to point out too, is people are probably going to make fun of you for doing this. I know I've seen a couple little bits of shade about how much we sent out, not like a lot, but the No Clean Singing article was a little bit of shade,
It was a little bit of shade.
It was a little bit, but I mean, he liked it, and he said he liked it. But I mean, the mentioning of the 15 press releases, I mean, okay, it's a little bit of shade, not really, but that isn't what I'm referring to. There was another person on Twitter. I can't remember who it was. I think I showed you, and I hope I can find it later. Might have been, but I think it was Twitter, who had complained about they were just seeing a Kiaville all the time, and they were just so sick of it and stuff like that. But I'm thinking to myself, they were talking about them on social media. Other people were probably now going to go check them out. And it's like, really, who gives a fuck? We had 0 unsubscribes this entire campaign, as far as I remember.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single one.
Yeah, no unsubscribes. I think I had an unsubscribe on my MailChimp, which is just the sheer press releases, but no one has, there was like one, but no one has unsubscribed from my Holics list, which is the main one where you get the press kits from. Okay,
no, and we've actually added like 9 or 10 to your Holics of people who have requested stuff from a Kiaville. So any unsubscribes have been balanced out by people who are like, hey, I want to get this too.
Yep, 100%. So other than volume, do you have any other ideas on what made it go?
Quality. So
Quality.
The volume got people's attention. The quality of the band obviously kept people's attention. So
Yep.
I'm going to toot the band's horn there. They put a lot of effort into their sound, into their image, into their videos. They make sure that everything is professional and, top notch before they put it out.
Yep.
And so we weren't just spamming any old band. It was a band that clearly takes themselves very seriously and takes their career seriously. And that shows in everything that we send.
Yeah, you have to have that aspect in, otherwise it's definitely not going to work. Like if the band isn't willing to tour, they aren't looking for more opportunities or anything like that, and it's kind of a hobby band, I don't think something like this would work as well.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, like you have to actually go in there with the intention of selling. You have to go in there with the intention of actually making a career out of this, because if you just do sheer volume and there's nothing really to back it up, especially the quality of the sound, I agree with you. One thing I do also want to say that I think was helpful was, I think, just the fact that there was 2 people with full intention to get the band big, not just one, and the band themselves also had that intention. I think helped, because sometimes bands are kind of like, I don't know if this is going to work, or they're kind of like, I only want to talk to certain outlets.
Oh, yes, that's very frustrating when people are like, oh, I only want to interview with top tier outlets. It's like you're shooting yourself in the foot with that. The band, Kiaville, it doesn't matter big or small, they will give you whatever interview attention that you want. I mean, they work with pretty much everybody. It doesn't matter the size of the outlet at all. There was actually one girl, she has a little Twitch stream. It's not, she doesn't have very many subscribers at all. She mentioned them on her Twitch stream, and then tweeted about it. And the band sent her a DM saying, hey, do you want us to come on your Twitch stream for an interview? And she was just beyond stoked. So they don't just focus on the big guys. They take the time to really appreciate the little guys who are definitely not getting paid to do this. So,
and those little guys too, like, how do I want to explain this? Because that is a common complaint, is like if you're getting little guys, but the thing with guys is that those little guys will also buy albums, and they will also keep tooting your horn. They'll mention you on social media.
She bought a bunch of merch.
There you go. So how much merch did she buy approximately, would you say?
She bought several shirts. I know that obviously the album, several shirts. I mean, she bought a bunch.
So like $100, something like that.
Probably, yeah, about
So
that.
they made
well, €100 most likely, so more than 100 in the US.
100 just by going on a Twitch stream, basically. Yeah. So I mean, you kind of got to look at it from that way too. Like even if only one or two people see the article, the thing is that that person could be the person that buys your album, and that person who buys your album will then a lot of the times tell other people about it, or they'll wear your shirt around. People will see it. It's a long game that a lot of people don't understand about. Also, can you kind of go over how it was kind of like a teamwork type proposition? Now we kind of work together briefly, Cori?
Well, one thing I wanted to touch on before that, with the little guys.
Sure.
All these little guys grow up.
Yep.
Everyone graduates onto something bigger, and they're going to remember the bands that were like, yeah, I'll come on your Twitch stream, or yeah, I'll come on your podcast, when they were tiny, and then they suddenly get hired at, Decibel or Metal Hammer or something like that. That's a big outlet. I mean, all these people are going to graduate to something, most likely. So they'll remember you.
I agree. So you want to touch on
teamwork? Well,
us for this.
Sort of, because you bullied me into teamwork.
Well, yeah, but you bullied me too. There's an evenness of bulliness.
I don't bully you.
You do too bully me. We both bully.
I do not.
Okay, you don't.
I am a nice person.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm not. Not at all. No, I think the thing with us that works the best is we're both very aware of our own strengths and our own weaknesses, and we defer to the other on whatever it is that we are weak on, that the other is strong on. We don't tend to, butt heads with what we think is right. We trust each other because I know what you're good at. I know what I'm good at. You know what you're good at. You know what I'm good at. And we, bounce that off of each other. So, and also we discuss every step of the way, and we come to an agreement on everything. I mean, there's things that we haven't agreed on. And at the end of the day, we just don't do those things. And there's no hard feelings, no nothing about it. It's just,
I think that's kind of one of the key points too, is that also at the same time, you or I will also just do it if we feel it's right. Tell the other person later. Sometimes if it's like, we know the other person's got stuff on their plate or whatever, and it's just but as a general rule, I think a key thing that we've done with the key development with everyone else is like, we'll handle it, but then also talk to the person about it later and not just keep it a secret or anything like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of transparency between you and I. I mean, nothing is a secret.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, our blood types aren't even a secret. It's, I only don't know yours because you don't know yours.
Yeah, I don't know mine. I was just going to say that I don't know mine. But let's move, other than Akiaville, what else do we want to talk about on Akiaville before we move on to C Squared stuff?
I mean, we still have a lot of stuff planned, so.
Sales. Can you go over the sales numbers? Because they beat the fucking sales. Their whole last album was like 300 total. And we need to go over this, what we got on pre-order and just for today.
We have nearly 400 sales just in pre-orders.
Yep.
So, and that's between, the distributor that they're working with, Bandcamp, their own website, all of it together. They have almost 400 copies of the album sold, where their last album only sold 300 in an entire year. Yep.
And then
we got from the distributor, we got a message saying you need to press more now, basically.
That's awesome. And then also, you want to go over the YouTube and Spotify stats. You don't have to go act nitty gritty, but.
No, I mean, so actually, let me see if the Spotify has updated yet. It hadn't by the time this started. So let's see here. So I know when I first started this.
Well, while you're looking, I just want to say one thing. Cori when she started with them, I just want to point out they had almost nothing. I just want to say this again. They had almost nothing. So anyway, sorry, I just had to toot your horn.
Oh no, Spotify has gone from 277 monthly listeners to 1,780.
So that's almost 10 times.
Yeah, almost 10 times. And then YouTube, this video, so their videos typically get about 30 to 40,000 views, but that's been over the course of, again, a year.
Yep.
So their current video is at, pulling this up right now, they are at 47,000 views, and the video has been up for 3 weeks, and they have added 100 new subscribers.
Okay, so they added 100 new subscribers on YouTube. They went and they got 47,000 in 1 month, and they
3
updated
weeks.
10 times on Spotify. What about any other figures? Is there any other figures you want to toot before we move on?
All of their social channels have grown. Every
Cool.
one of them has grown. I haven't updated the numbers on my spreadsheet yet. That's another thing, guys. Keep track of your numbers. But all of their engagement has grown by over 100%.
Cool.
On everything.
I agree with you on that. Keep track of the numbers, because otherwise you don't know if you're growing. Because if you don't start and kind of go like, where am I at? You have no idea if you're growing later, because some bands just don't fucking do it. Right.
Right.
Okay. So anything else on Akiyaville before we go into C Squared?
No.
No?
Just listen to their crap. Well, it's not crap. Listen to their stuff.
It's a very good album. Just want to say that. If you have not heard the Akiyaville Victus, go buy it. It's on vinyl and it's on CD and it's on digital. And they are very, very, very good band. And kind of like
We've gotten a number of reviews so far. I think we're up to like 6 or 7 full album reviews, and the lowest one I've seen is an 8 out of 10.
Yep. Oh, that's the last thing we need to go over with Akiyaville. Even though we didn't get a ton of reviews because of where we were releasing, we still got all that press. And I think all that press was just as valuable as getting like a flood of reviews. Would you agree with that or not?
Yes, and I don't think the reviews are over. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't. I think that they will still trickle in.
Yeah, because that's one lesson that people also got to learn, is because we had a very, very, very tight promo period with this. We started the press, I think it was on March 10th or something like that. Does that sound right? March 10th?
Yeah, something like that. Beginning of March.
Yeah, so we only had like around 4 weeks to actually do an actual press cycle on this. So that's not very much time to get reviews, especially by big places, but we managed to get them. We hit them in every single major place other than like Metal Hammer and Outburn, despite that. And even though they were just news items, it was invaluable what we got. Like we got the Metal Sucks playlist. They got featured at Metal Sucks, Metal Injection, Heavy Blog is Heavy, Decibels coming up next month. It's like, it all helps.
Yep. Every single piece of it helps. It all adds together. Because I mean, say you're label shopping, they're going to look at the volume of press you've gotten, not necessarily where. They're going to look at that too, but they're going to look at, I mean, if you only get Metal Injection and nothing else, that's not good enough. But if you get Metal Injection and 149 other things, then they're going to start to pay attention.
Agreed.
And that is the other thing. We have gotten interest from labels.
Yep. At least 3 labels.
At least 3.
But guess what? Cori's going to keep them.
They're mine.
They're hers.
No, they've seen what can be accomplished on their own. And so they're a bit reluctant to give up any kind of freedom if it's not gonna, be beneficial. I mean, they can do all of this on their own. What else is there?
Yep. All you need is financing, really. As long as you got the financing in place, boom, you're good to label. Can't really
just financed this entire album on their own. So
Yep. Okay, so let's move on to C Squared for a bit. So we started this like mid-month last month. We started the podcast first, and then I went into working with me somehow, right? Isn't that how it went?
You pretty much said you're working with me now.
Yeah. And why do you agree to these things? I don't even understand. You just fucking go along.
I have nothing better to do with my life, okay? I have literally nothing going on. I sit at home with my cat all day and like eat snacks. This is my life.
Okay. Fair enough. No, but seriously, why did you agree? First of all, let's start here. Why did you actually agree with my nutcase proposal?
It wasn't nutcase.
You didn't think it was nutcase? Okay.
I didn't think it was nutcase. No, I mean, it sounded like fun. I like working with you.
Yeah.
And I mean, you helped me a ton. And so I saw working with you as a way to help you out with the skills that I have. So like, why not?
Fair. Okay.
And
Fair.
so I kind of look at every situation a little weird.
Okay.
I look at it with what is the worst thing that's going to happen if I do this? And if the answer isn't I'm going to die, then chances are it's probably going to be fine. So
what if it's like you're poisoning someone, but you're not going to die?
whatever. They'll get over it. They'll heal.
I'm kidding. Okay. So you agreed to do, so first we started the podcast. Just want to point that out. So it was C Squared, the podcast. We've been working together for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. Got this harebrained idea that, that Cori was going to start doing more management, more consulting, more PR and that type of thing, even though she was going into the busiest month of her fucking life with her day job.
Oh yeah. This was a nightmare of a month.
Yeah. But at the same time, she did it. Can you kind of explain the thought process, other than it wouldn't kill me, behind entering into a new business when everything's going crazy around you?
At the end of the day, I want to be full-time in metal. I want to be in a position where I can support the bands. So I'm going to do what I got to do. That's pretty much what it boils down to, is I'm just doing what I got to do to get shit done. And it's a grind. It sucks. Curtis knows this. And some of our listeners know this. I work from 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. most nights.
He does more than me.
And then I wake up and I do it again the next day, and I do it again the next day, and I do it again the next day. And it's just what you've got to do to get where you want to be. And so many people in the industry, they say they want this, but what they want is to be able to say that they do this. They don't actually want to do the work necessary to get there. They don't have the passion for it. They want the clout, but they don't actually have the passion for the music and the bands and everything. It's a selfish endeavor for them, and that's why they don't make it. But I truly love this genre, and I truly think that you do wonderful things for people in the genre. I see all your work with the small bands. I've seen your work with people like Lindsay Schoolcraft. You treat your big clients the same as your little ones, if not pushing your little ones even harder, because let's face it, if you send a press release about Lindsay Schoolcraft, people are going to pick it up. But sending a press release about a Kiavel, you're going to have to hit them over the head 15 times.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's why I work with you, is how you treat people, and the fact that this is a goal of mine. Okay, so
I also, one thing I want to point out again is you start at 4 o'clock in the morning and you go to 11 o'clock at night. I go like 7 o'clock in the morning to almost midnight, but there's little breaks in between for both of us. And you also are doing a full-time day job on top of that. So I'm not going to ask you about juggling it. Let's go into the C Squared bit. So we basically started mid-March, and then pretty much it was a Kiaville at first, ligature marks, kind of like a co-thing again, even though they're your band, basically. And then we started working with Hair Knox, and then we took on Duncan Evans as well for management purposes. And then we expanded into consulting as well. So do you think we're going crazy right now with everything we're doing, or what, like, honestly?
Oh, we're definitely insane, dude. But really, you have to be. You have to be insane. There is so much competition in this industry. There are so many knowledgeable people, but at the same time, there are so many shit people that you have to be insane to push those kind of people out.
I agree.
And I know we are both on the same page with, we want to be there's that principle of every action in nature has an equal and opposite reaction, and that we want to be the equal and opposite reaction to the shitty people. And unfortunately, they are so prolific. We have to be insane to do all. I mean, it just is the way it has to be.
I agree. Okay, so I don't even really know what we are anymore. Like, we're kind of like an everything type thing.
Exactly.
So
there is no word.
There isn't. So we got a social media program that we're running, or sorry, book that we're selling rather. We have a social media challenge we have coming up. We have the three management clients, and then we got consulting clients, and then we also got PR stuff. Like, how would you describe what we do then? What are we? I'm curious what your thoughts are. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore either, because
Gurus?
other than bankrolling an album, we have all the hallmarks of a label.
We do
But
kind of.
I mean, we're doing all the same stuff a label would do, but we don't have the money to bankroll your album. Sorry.
And we are putting out an album in like a couple months once we figure it out.
Yeah, once we figure all that out. But
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, we're just two crazy motherfuckers who want to push this genre back into the forefront where it used to be.
Yep.
So whatever you want to call that, that's what we are.
So 2 weeks ago, we decided that we were going to go even crazier, and decided
Us?
to.
No.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I think it was like 11:30 at night. We were messaging each other, and we're trying to figure it. Well, I think it was me that had the harebrained idea again. You just kind of like pushed me into
Whatever.
it. And
I just go with the flow.
Well, you kind of pushed me into it. You kind of put the crazy up to another level in this one, where I was like, we were talking about expanding C Squared already, and we got the harebrained idea to ask Aaliyah and Gaia and Holly. We'd already asked to join. So I don't remember what was the thought process behind this. Did we just go nuts?
I think we just went nuts, because I don't think there really was a thought process other than these people have skills. Let's bring them on the team.
Yeah. And I want to point out that none of these people really have experience in metal or anything well, they do, but they don't actually have experience really, but they do have experience. Like you
they have baby experience.
Well, no, but they still do, because like you don't have any like you had no industry experience. You have 10 years of marketing experience. Mm-hmm. You've worked in management position type things. You've done sales. You know what I mean? But you haven't actually, you had never done it.
I just hadn't done it in music.
That's the thing, right? So technically, I mean, you're not someone might say you're a noob, but you're not a noob, because you've been doing this in other fields for a really long fucking time. So, and same thing with Gaia. Gaia's been working as a musician. She launched her own album. She crowdfunded successfully. She did a lot of her own PR when she was in Uriel, or however the heck you say the name. Holly's the same way. So I think one of the key things is that we're not looking for people that are jaded and don't, you know what I mean, and like stuck in industry ways.
No, we're looking for people who have like the skill set, but without the attitude that can sometimes permeate this industry. Don't get me wrong, there are people who have been in this industry an extremely long time who still have that, sense of wonder when a new album is dropping. I mean, Blasco is one. When you sit down and talk to him about metal, he still lights up. Simon Hulaman is another one who, when you talk to him about metal, he still lights up. So, I mean, it's possible to find those people, but there are some people in this industry. Ben Umanov, he's another one of Metal Sucks, that he still gets all excited about the stuff that he's working on. So, but there are definitely people who are jaded in this industry, and we didn't want that.
Yeah.
We didn't want that, that kind of nasty gatekeepery attitude that can happen with the I've been in metal for a long time, you are beneath me. Blech.
Well, it's not just that, but also there's people that, like you said, like the clout. There's a lot of people.
The clout chasers, yeah. We didn't want those.
And I don't think anybody that we're currently working with has any clout chasing aspirations. It doesn't seem that way to me.
No, I mean, Holly is really humble. Same with Aaliyah. And Gaia, even with her social presence and being what it is, because she's got a pretty big social presence. She's still a very humble, very down to earth person. So we don't have the I'm just doing this for the fame kind of attitude.
And I think,
I definitely don't want the fame. It makes me feel weird when people ask me for interviews on my own.
Cori does not like to do it on her own yet.
No, I will do them, but it's weird to me, because it's like, you care about what I have to say? Why?
You'll get over that one of these days. I know you will.
No, I don't think I'll ever understand why anybody cares what I have to say.
Well, we won't get into that right now, but the the clout chasing, just go back to that for a second. So one key
Mhm.
thing I think about all the people that we're working with right now is that all of them want to be working full time in the music industry,
Mhm.
and they're willing to do pretty much whatever it takes in order to do that. Holly works a full-time job. You work a full-time job. Gaia works a full-time job. Morash works a full-time job. Aaliyah works a full-time job. All of you guys, I'm the only person that doesn't work. Well, I mean, this is my full-time job, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But all of them basically do not have free time, and their free time is used to work on things that help the clients.
Mhm.
Gaia last night was on, she was doing, I just had taught her yesterday how to do a press release and how to do a holics. And she was working on that till I think it was like 9:30 at night last night.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? She didn't have to do it. She didn't have to fucking do it, but she did it. She was there at 9:30. I know I was working on shit till like at least 11:15, I think, before I said I was going to watch the IT crowd. And then
Which, for everybody who hasn't seen the IT crowd, watch the IT crowd.
watch the IT crowd. The only thing is don't watch too many before bed, or you're gonna feel like I feel right now, which isn't that great. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, so the clout chasers, and what else do you think has been good about these people that we're working with so far?
So they're not clout chasers. They have the passion for the industry. I think that their willingness to learn,
Yep,
because we're all still learning. I learn new things every day. You learn new things every day.
Yep.
We have stuff to teach each other. That's the thing. I mean, all of us are constantly teaching each other everything that
Yep.
each of us knows. So it's a really collaborative. It's like a cooperative.
It is.
We're not a
thing.
Mhm. So
Cooperative.
and you have to be willing to learn. This industry moves so fast anymore that what you learned last month is outdated.
Agreed. One thing I do want to point out as well, though, is that although it is a cooperative, Cori and I are the chiefs. No one will be going above us. If anything happens, we do consult each other 100% of the time. We do not like anything else from any outside source has to be cleared through one of us before it goes into effect. There's been stuff that I've wanted to do that Cori might not want to do that we don't do. Same thing with her and me. If I say I don't want to do it, she's totally cool with that. She'll figure out a different way of doing it. And I don't think there's any hard feelings, right?
No.
Okay.
No skin off my nose.
Yeah.
There's always another way to do things, number one. And number two, honestly, if you don't want to do something, chances are there's a really good reason.
Yeah.
And if I don't want to do something, I mean, I always try to back up all of my points with data. You know me, I love data.
Yeah.
Working in marketing, data is my best friend. So
But the key thing I think that'll with C squared is that it's ours. We look at it as it's not one or the other. But we also both try to defer to the other one, probably a little bit too much, but whatever.
You decide. No, you decide. No, you decide.
And then finally, it's just like one of us just fucking does it finally and hopes the other
one of us just is like, fuck it, I'm doing the thing.
Yep. Okay, so now next up, let's just talk about some more results that we got before we wrap up here. So we've had we've taken on 2 consulting clients so far. So first one we did was Carlos, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to bother to pronounce his last name, last week. So we did a session with him, and I thought it went quite well, and he seemed to be very happy with it. And then we also just started working with Laura from the Inferno Doll, and Laura has kicked so much butt. Do you want to talk about
She goes along with our harebrained ideas, and it's fantastic.
She does.
But yeah, she's already hit her last year's sales this week.
Above
her last year's sales just this week.
Obliterated them. So, and she did that because she came and we went through, I think it was like an hour we spent with her, maybe an hour and a half. And we went over the plan with her. We gave her steps to do. And instead of like most people who argue the point, and I don't know why people pay for consulting and stuff just to argue, but I know people do it because I've seen it in the past. But we gave her steps to do. She's been doing the steps. She's been reporting back on the steps. Even if it was late at night, she's still fucking done the steps. Can you kind of go over like the need for the cooperation on the part of the client, Cori? Because it's not just Laura, but Akiaville has done it. So has Carlos and other people.
Yeah. Akiaville, or probably, and Laura too, like they're dream clients because they do it.
Yep.
And honestly, I look at it like you came to us for a reason.
Yep.
And so arguing with the people that you've asked for help, we're telling you to do these things because we've seen them work. And if we haven't seen them work and we're just trying something new, you and I will be straightforward and say, hey, this is something we haven't tried, but we think it would be cool.
Yep.
And it doesn't hurt to try something new. If it doesn't work, you just don't do that thing. So much of marketing and sales it's trial and error.
Yep.
And you're going to do things that don't work. You're going to do things that work great. And so you just learn from each of those experiences. And so one thing I think a lot of bands are afraid of is they're afraid of doing something and it doesn't work. But it goes back to what I was saying earlier about what is the worst thing that's going to happen. So say we say, try this promotion and, a new type of bundle. Okay, so we'll take Laura's as an example. We told her to sell a bundle of a t-shirt, or not a t-shirt, a hoodie. And her CD, but to kiss with long wear lipstick the inside of her CD. So everybody who buys her CD gets a kiss from Laura. And that could have bombed. People could have been like, whoa, that's creepy. But it didn't. But if it had, what is the worst thing that happened? She didn't make any sales. Okay, so we try something new. Honestly, the worst thing that's going to happen really isn't that bad if you do something and it doesn't work.
Agreed.
You just try something else.
And with her, she made, like you said, so she obliterated her last year's sales, and she also made back all the money that she paid us, plus just from that 1 week. So she paid for an entire month of consulting just off the one sale plus additional. And I think, and also she didn't discount the product. There was no discount.
No, she didn't. She didn't discount it at all. There was no discount. The only bonus that people got was a kiss from Laura, which, I mean, who doesn't want a kiss from Laura? But
exactly.
But really, it's like, it was something we hadn't done. It was something that I haven't really seen anybody else do, but it worked.
Yep. And there's more. And the lesson from that is, like, again, if you listen to the people who you're working with and you're hiring someone to give you advice, or you're going to someone for advice, you should take it, not butt heads. Don't argue. Just do it, especially when it's people who've got experience. Again, Cori has about 10 years worth of marketing experience. So if she tells you something with social media or with marketing, there's a good chance she probably knows what she's talking about, or she has an idea of what she's talking about, at least. Because to toot her horn again, she took Akiaville from 200 Spotify listeners to 2,000 in 1 month, almost 2,000. She got them up to 40,000 views on a YouTube video within 3 weeks, and she grew them on all their social networks. And the total budget, I think, for all of that was like something like $300, $400, wasn't it?
I think total we paid 500.
500. And Cori did not take a dime in pay on this so far. Just as
not a single payout. So for you folks looking for a manager, the rule is the manager does not make money unless you make money. So anybody charging you a monthly fee, run away.
Yep. But consulting is different.
Consulting is different. I'm talking management only.
Yep. What else do we want to cover?
So I don't take a dime until their expenses are paid, which was things like, since this is self-funded, it'd be things like the CDs and the videos and everything that they've had to pay for. So
just trying to think what else we want to go over with C Squared before we wrap up, because we're starting to run out of time. I think we got a lot of stuff planned. I think we're going to kick some butt. I really do think that with the people that we got right now. Oh, also, the other thing that we're offering too is websites with Gaia. I just wanted to mention that. Not websites, web shops rather. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they should be the same thing.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yep.
So we will not sell you a website anymore, because Cori, the queen, has decreed that anybody that works with us, you tell them, queen.
Okay. So we will sell you a website, but it needs to be on a platform that can have a web shop added to it later. So something like WooCommerce on WordPress, Square has its own. Shopify, I believe you can disable the store portion if you're not ready to add it. A lot of these things, Basically, I want people to get out of the habit of having a website on one platform and their store on another platform. It's honestly, it creates what's called friction in the sales world between the customer and purchasing the product. It's just one extra step. Plus, it hurts your SEO because it's not all in one place. And things like tracking with the Facebook pixel, Google Analytics, that stuff is now split between 2 locations instead of 1. So it becomes infinitely harder to actually make it freaking work. So we will do websites, but if you want to add a store later, you're going to be adding it on the platform that you're already on, or we can migrate you entirely to something like Shopify, but no more websites and web shops being 2 separate things. It's asinine and it drives me insane.
Cori has decreed this is the way it goes. So if anybody wants this, that's how it goes.
And if you think about it, look at, not in the music world, but look at everybody else in the e-commerce world. Think about, where you buy your clothes, where like all of those online stores. Is anyone else doing a website and a web shop in 2 separate? Is Nordstrom's doing a website and a web shop in 2 separate places? No, they are not. There is a reason for that.
Yep. Anything else you want to cover on web shops?
Oh, I could go on and on and on, but we do not have time. We should make that another podcast.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay. Other than that, all I want to say is Cori has been doing a fantastic job since we started working together. I think as a team, we work really well together. In the future, I think that with most C squared stuff, I think that, how do I want to say this? I think our teamwork is going to take things to a next level with Gaia and Holly and with Morash, because I really, really think that we're going to get more results than most other companies are. Not naming any names, but if you do need help with consulting, or you need a web shop, or you do need ads run, Cori can also help with ads run. Basically anything you need, one of us can do it. I can't do anything.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So if you need anything, hit us up.
Graphic design, we've got somebody for that.
Exactly. You do need to have quality music, because we do quality check everybody that comes through. If we do not feel you have suitable music to make sales or to make an income or anything like that, I'm not going to take you on. You don't have to be the best in the world, but if you sound like a goat farting, we don't want to fucking have you. I'm sorry.
Or more realistically, if it sounds like it was recorded on your phone in your friend's garage.
Unless it's raw black metal, in which case that might be okay.
That might be okay. Yeah, actually, I have heard some quality music recorded on a phone in somebody's garage. So I take that back.
There are some legendary black metal albums that were recorded that way, not on a phone, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, so, I know what you mean. I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
Yeah. So that's not necessarily a thing, but you got to have quality there. Other than that, anything you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Okay. Well, party on, Cori.
Party on, Curtis.